Hey everybody, Will Fix here with Maximus Crypto. Say hey to everybody, Max.
Howdy, everybody, Max.
Okay, he's literal. So this is how we're going to go today. So what are we going to cover today?
Well, there's a lot of new updates, guys. I mean, wow, what exciting time, of course, to be a Ripple XRP holder. But it's getting into the weeds of why all this matters. So, for one, a lot of you guys saw the post from many people. Will was covering it last night. Donald Trump met with, for example, Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple. Also, Stuart Alderati was there present, obviously from the legal side of things. And how cool, and we're going to get into that. But there's other things that were not mentioned as much compared to that. Chainlink and Ripple direct partnership. Yeah, we don't talk about
Wow.
Chainlink enough. I get that. But nonetheless, it is a win. A lot of you guys are into Chainlink and so on. One thing always stands out, King of Oracles. I know that, Will's into Chainlink. So, that's a win moving forward, whether you're fans of Chainlink or not. So we're going to get into all this and why it matters. And then we have some other videos we're going to do on a separate segment in regards to some new key things, like with the SEC, who's going to be that new, czar of that, and some, XDC later. So, but this is the focus right now. Smash that like if you haven't done so already. And before we get started, we're just going to give you a quick little ad commercial in regards to the not the chain link, but the decent wallet, because it helps benefit us both. So it's not going to
That's
be
right.
long. We're going to kick it right into there, and then we'll be right back. Right back.
If you own crypto, you need a self-custody wallet. I've chosen the Decent wallet after owning several different wallets. I believe you will like it too. Use the link in the description. Purchase from my site. It does help support the channel. I appreciate it. Here's Crypto Trading Fund at 91 cents. This is an area that I purchase in, and I trade the volatility of CTF. If you're kind of bored with hodling and you think, when the market's up, maybe I should sell, and when the market's down, then I can buy. Well, for me, I don't mess with XRP, some of my bigger assets that way, but I do take a portion that I can trade in the volatility on, and I like a coin that moves a lot in volatility, and this is the one that I like. It's on the Polygon network. Link in the description. But buying in the 80-90 cent range is good, because this coin will double from there oftentimes. You can see here there's many high points here. That's just in a month. And so it gives you the opportunity to play that style of game if that's your interest. Do your own research, make your own decisions. Okay, let's move on.
All right, welcome back. So with that said, let's jump into the big highlight of this Ripple XRP and Chainlink partnership. First thing we're going to do is bring this up on your screen and show you where we're going with this. Does it come from an influencer, content creator? No, it comes straight from Ripple. How cool is that? So as you can see right here, Ripple and Chainlink, RLUSD has adopted the Chainlink standard for verifiable data to fuel DeFi adoption with real-time secure pricing data. The future stablecoins is here, and you see it front row center, Ripple and Chainlink. And just to take you over to the official publication from Ripple, you see that Ripple adopts the Chainlink standard to further Ripple USD, RLUSD utility and access, of course, in DeFi. Again, this is a big deal, because when we get further into it, we understand that Chainlink, of course, has its own standard. People have pointed out that they really stand out when it comes to being, quote unquote, the king of oracles. But for me, I like this. It's a win moving forward, any way you want to look at it. And just real briefly, before we kick it over to Will, it's like it says, stablecoin opportunity. As we know, they bring a significant opportunity to redefine the way businesses and consumers engage in all this. As we know, Ripple recently launched RLUSD, designed to maintain that value of 1-1 to the US dollar. But there's all different forms, everybody, of what is referred to as stable coins. I saw some of you guys in the comments recently stating that, hey, you fools, stable coins are only at a $1 ratio. That is not the case. That's why I put that in a highlight from the World Bank. Okay. There's different forms of stable coins, and they're not just pegged to a dollar ratio. So this is a big win moving forward. Yes, we're aware that Flare stands out in regards to oracles, but this whole notion, Will, that we can only go with one platform for oracles or interoperability or you name it, that's not the case. That's the beauty of having partnerships. It's using all sorts of different avenues at your disposal to get the job done, to say the least. So I think this is a big win moving forward. Your thoughts in regards to the recent developments in regards to Chainlink and Ripple?
Yeah, so I'm thinking when Ripple makes a choice, the whole world's going to look, because they're the third largest, and we all believe soon will be the largest, and they are the largest out of the United States. Now, the reason I think that's significant, when they pick Chainlink, they are elevating Chainlink because of the elevation of RLUSD. And we'll share more probably about this in another video. But when you think about RLUSD, you're thinking about the ability to send a US dollar digitally anywhere that it needs to go and not use the SWIFT system, because the SWIFT system is what's being used to send the dollar now. So you have a Ripple that's made RLUSD backed by US treasuries. It literally is a dollar. So it is backed by a dollar. So it's the same thing as a dollar. The significance that they're using Chainlink just elevates Chainlink, because the dollars, the currency that the world compares everything to, this is what our currency is worth. Yeah, well, how much is that in dollars? And the whole world does that. And Max, a lot of people don't know, if you've traveled abroad. Well, I lived in Germany for several years, and I was going to buy a VW Scirocco. Is when the Scirocco was super bad. This is in the 80s. And I was like, man, that car. So, I didn't have the headroom that I really needed, but I'm like, I'm going to get a Scirocco. So when I go to the finance department in Germany, in a German bank, they said, do you want to do that loan in US dollars, or at the time it was German marks? And I was like, well, what's the difference? And they said, well, the interest rates for the US dollar are much lower. And I said, is this what's offered to all citizens? And they're like, yeah, all citizens of Germany are offered to be able to do a loan in dollars or marks. Well, that's still the case around the world. Many of the places give you the choice to borrow in that form. Now, the old system that was sending money back and forth is the SWIFT system that would send money. So how would they get US dollars? Well, through that many day process, through the Nostro Vostro accounts. Now this will be an instantaneous, think of just seconds, that Ripple will be able to supply any need, and it's actually treasury backed money. It's the same thing as a CBDC currency, just without the negative governmental control. So when they choose Chainlink to oversee this, do you see the implications all over the world? But, how did y'all handle that? And who's handling this? Who's making sure this thing's stable? What's running this? Oh, yeah, Chainlink. So you see how that elevates Chainlink way up, because the United States, we don't think about it as much, Max, because we just live here, right? We go to the bank, we only have dollars as a choice. But the dollar is respected. Now, I know the government has ruined it, right? So the government ruined it. The government started weaponizing the dollar. But a CBDC currency would be more of a weaponized dollar, but not RLUSD. The government's not involved. So it's a dollar without the dirty government trying to control or trying to withdraw or do a sanction. And so who's doing this mighty dollar? Chainlink and Ripple. This is huge, man. This is
Absolutely.
This is bigger than we can try to sit here and go, hey guys, do you see how big this is? How do you communicate that to because it's hard to communicate that to Americans because it's just our money. But the whole world respects the dollar. The whole world's like, man, that's the money. That stuff is powerful. If we can have the dollar, you got foreign countries that are having to put serious measures over the dollar because they don't like that the US weaponized it. So to get their people to not use the dollar, they've had to go to extreme measures to try to get them to use their own currency because the dollar is so powerful. It's like, no, we want that deal. That thing's powerful. And as the shifting currencies go between currencies, it's the dollar that has dominance. So it's always the winner. Right now, it's very strong. Anyway, so I'm just saying all of that to say that the significance of this news, that it's Chainlink, somebody had to win. Chainlink won this contract, so to speak. This is massive Chainlink news and RLUSD news, because Chainlink's no joke. But that's what I think, Max. Do you see it the same way?
I do see it the same way. I think there's so many things that are on the near horizon for us that we just simply need to recognize. For one, just having dinner with Trump, that's big. We know that he finally, backed the whole thing of Bitcoin. So many people were asking, well, what about, Ripple XRP? During the campaign, there was a person that was, for Trump at a mega rally, and he asked Elon Musk, if what was Musk's stance on, do you know about XRP and so on? And you could totally tell that Elon Musk was biting his tongue, and he couldn't like completely elaborate. Well, think about this. Are we oblivious? What if it was us? Gensler is still in office, whether we like that or not. He's going to ride this thing out to January 20th. With that said, there would be implications to open your mouth about things before he's out, right? So another thing that Will and I are definitely going to discuss is the whole thing of, this new nominee, if you will, Paul Atkins. That's in another video. But what I was going to point out for this one is the way I look at it is Trump sat down with, Suda Alderati, especially Brad Garlinghouse. He had to have heard about the use case of Ripple XRP, how on-demand liquidity, Mr. President, guess what? If we ever get to a second recession, or I should call it second recession, but another one coming up here soon, which could be a possibility, hopefully not. Hey, bro, hey, Mr. President, we got you. Oh, how do you got me? Yeah. On-demand liquidity. The government doesn't have to take on that debt no more. Trillions in debt. On-demand liquidity. We could tokenize that debt. How so? And they just explain how that all works. Okay, that's game changer. You think he's not going to listen to that? He's going to listen to that. He probably already did. Yeah.
And the topic came up because Trump does not want a CBDC currency. He doesn't like the idea of governmental control that could happen later down the road. He's not always going to be in office. There could be, a bad party that get in there and then want to put the controls on a CBDC. Trump does not want that. Now they put in the micro rules that you got to have these U.S. treasuries backed on these stable coins. Well, that amplifies the dollar. That helps the dollar. It doesn't hurt it. Well, the opposite would be true if you didn't have to back it with a treasury. You could actually start to have your own dollar. So this backs the U.S. This is the perfect solution for having a digital way of sending a dollar from one place to another digitally, which is bypassing the old systems that are in place now. So how do you send a dollar? You either use the old system or you have to do it digitally. So this is the perfect solution. It's not government controlled. Foreign countries can feel safer using RLUSD if they want to use a dollar. The idea of them using their own currencies, they want to transfer everything into their own currencies right now. So it's not going to hurt XRP because XRP is for the idea that they can get their currency just by the liquidity of XRP. And the liquidity of XRP for nations that are forbidden to use the dollar, there's more liquidity for XRP than the dollar because of the way the world situation is right now. So it's not going to hurt XRP in any way. It's only going to be for countries who actually want the dollar. And there's some countries that use the dollar that aren't the United States. Well, Palau, you can get a dual citizenship in Palau. I believe they use the dollar. Some of our territories use the dollar. So those are cross-border payments. And so I see this as the perfect solution. And Trump sitting down with, come on, the head of Ripple, the largest, you don't think it came up? The RLUSD, you don't think the dollar came up? Man, they talked about it. They absolutely talked about it. They
Yeah, you better believe it.
That's what they had to talk about. They talked about Now, this was Ripple mainly, right? Now, Ripple, we know the native token's XRP, but Ripple's main deal would be RLUSD now, wouldn't it? So that's going to be on the forefront, because that's going to be the key ticket to a lot of XRP, since XRP pays for Ripple. If you're going to use RLUSD, it's going to charge you in XRP. So the two go together. But this meeting can't be overestimated about what happened. Direct contact with the president. And when President Trump, Max, says those three letters out loud, XRP, because he hasn't really talked much about XRP. He talked about Bitcoin, but now he's got XRP in his mind. And I saw a post released by, was it his son or his son-in-law, about, hey, we're still on board with no taxes on XRP. No capital gains, no income tax. Now, think of that, guys. You have a ton of XRP, and it's what, 400 or 500% up, depending on where you bought it from. And Trump's going to remove income tax and capital gains tax from that. You'll get all of it.
Here's what Will is talking about right here, just in case you guys are wondering what he's referencing. And again, a lot of people share this back in December, but a lot of us were new to this. So crypto tax breaks. Eric Trump confirms XRP, ADA, Algo, HBAR will be exempt. I mean, all right. What about other ones coming up on the near horizon? So this is a huge, massive win. I remember, having to pay capital gains tax last cycle. Hated that. As far as I'm concerned, this is kind of like winning the lottery, if you will, because this is more of our money that we get to keep, period.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it also is the significance of it all. Just to jump back for a moment, I want to take you guys back to this because we were talking about Chainlink. So real quick, from the publication from Ripple, Chainlink price feeds source data from numerous premium data aggregators. Chainlink's data aggregation model generates more precise global market prices that are inherently resistant to inaccuracies or manipulation of any single or small set of exchanges. So if you think about it, if you're going to have that conversation with Trump, which they did, well, if he heard about the whole Chainlink thing, this in itself is a major win, because we don't want to see any episode of your manipulation or your Terra Lunas or any of that. They've done all these tests with these pilots through things like the RSN and so on. And at the end of the day, this is going to be very beneficial. I want to talk just a brief moment about this in some of our notes. So Will elaborated about the significance of Ripple. All right. So some key things to elaborate a little bit more about what he mentioned. You also have to keep in mind that there's a sense of lending and borrowing that's part of the mix. What do we mean in that regard? Well, what we're talking about here basically is understanding that there is lending and borrowing platforms, but we need reliable price data. Chainlink comes into that mix. It's definitely needed to assess and risk or determine loan to loan value ratios, but then enter in what? The derivatives market. And for me personally, it's the derivatives market and also the tokenization of debt that will really allow Ripple XRP to shine here, especially when it comes to ODL, on demand liquidity. That was the main reason why I got into Ripple XRP. I saw how significant that could be. Those are huge markets. This whole notion that, there's not enough money in the world to have high price XRP. Again, back to the whole thing of, you have pennies in your pocket, you have nickels, dimes, quarters, back in the day, 50-cent pieces, dollar coins, and so on. It's an exchange of hands over and over and over, and that wasn't tracked. But the difference is, nowadays with this technology, it is tracked on what? A public unified shared ledger. We're all connected to one internet. It is going to be one unified shared ledger. So, with that said, would the derivatives market create like options and futures that would be precise for the future? Yes. Would this increase the, adoption of DeFi? Yeah. How so? RLUSD, their reach within a DeFi ecosystem. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to strengthen Ripple's position in the overall crypto market. They're going to be
Absolutely.
able to leverage DeFi. They're going to leverage Chainlink's infrastructure. It's a win
Yeah.
for both. Whether I'm guilty of not covering Chainlink enough and so on, that's not the point. The point is, we welcome it. Yes, there's Flare, and then people are like going to point that out. Flare with oracles, they don't need this. They don't need this. That's like saying you don't need your competition to get involved with what you're doing. That's like saying Apple in the past, Steve Jobs never needed to work with Sony, and we saw that that wasn't the case. They came together, competitors, right? Why would this be any bit different? So my thing is this: while we understood how this benefits Ripple, well, how does it truly benefit Chainlink? Let's talk about that for
Mhm.
a brief moment. It's the expanded ecosystem. This is going to integrate RLUSD to solidify Chainlink's position as the leading provider of decentralized Oracle services. I'll give them their flowers. They have always stood out as being the king of oracles. But can we see increased demand for Link? Absolutely. More projects that utilizes Chainlink services definitely would create more demand for Chainlink, and that could potentially increase their value of their particular coin and so on. But it's the credibility, the partnership in itself with Ripple.
Yeah.
Man, that's an
The
established part of the
credibility.
space. Absolutely, they're
Yeah.
like top three, top four, right?
The credibility is really the big deal, because for those that don't understand what an oracle is, it's a source of reliable information. So it's got to be extremely reliable, and you need a source of reliable information for smart contracts, because that's how they exercise whatever the contract has. You have a chain of ideas that are in a smart contract that fall like dominoes based on whatever information's included in there, and oracles have to supply that. It has to be truth. It can't be, subject to, a foreign country's wishes, or, somebody else's bias. It has to be truth. So when Chainlink is the one that's going to be over the dollar, which is, dominant on earth, and that is the high importance of that trust that's going to be, that is enhanced in Chainlink right now, just based on RLUSD. Both of those trusting each other is phenomenal, because all smart contracts need an oracle. And Flare, I don't know what Flare is, probably got their own oracles. I'm really not sure what Flare depends upon. But Max, wasn't you talking earlier about a relationship that involved quant?
Well, yeah, that's going to be on a different outline. That's in
Okay.
regards to the
Well,
treasury,
they're going to want to see that video.
commercial banks and treasuries and so on. So on that one, that's a nice little segue to that. Be on the lookout for that. We're going to talk about Ripple XRP, Stellar XLM, XDC. Probably take the cake with this, and it's a particular platform where you, as we speak, can earn a yield with it all. So putting
Wow.
our money to work with trusted platforms, that's the bottom line. Be out on the lookout for that. We have some other material we're going to get into, but hey, at the end of the day, if you guys appreciate this content, simply like and subscribe. And with that said, check out what Will has in this little brief ad before we wrap it up. And here it is. All right, welcome back. So, with that said, glad to bring it to you guys. If you listen to the entire outline, simply do us a favor and type this into the comments, and that is link XRP. And we'll know that you listened to the entire outline. Thanks again for listening to the coverage. Saying goes, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. Glad to do these collaborations with you, brother Will.
Oh, man. I love to do it with you too. These collaborations, that is, just to clear that up.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We won't
me
keep you
too,
guys.
man. I love you, buddy.
Love you too. Right back at you, bro. One brother to another, right? Anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one.